So, August has been quite an interesting month for Sonic X Shadow Generations news, the biggest thing being the newest trailer, which will be the main focus of the video. But before that, there are two smaller things I want to talk about first. We'll begin with a prediction that I and many others have had since the announcement trailer of this game, which has now officially been confirmed. Yes, the original Generations is being delisted as of the 9th of September. Kind of ironic there. So if you have any interest in it whatsoever, go on to Steam and get it as soon as possible because it will be gone soon. For those who are new to Generations, you might not know why anyone would want the original version over or in addition to the new version. And the reason, simply put, is mods. Sonic Generations has a huge modding community, and we aren't sure if the thousands of mods made for this game will be supported in the newer version. If you want my opinion, I bet heavily on them not being supported. Though in their tweet, Sega says mods will be unaffected on the Steam version. I believe this means that once they delist the original game, your mods will still work if you have the game, as opposed to saying mods will work on the new version, but we'll have to wait and see. There is a lot of amazing free content out there for Generations that the community has made in the decade plus since Generations originally released, and I'd recommend checking it out soon if you have ever had any interest. What was more interesting is the way that Sega decided to announce this. I, like many others, believed that the original game would be delisted prior to the release of Shadow Generations, and we got our first concrete sign at the beginning of August when Microsoft shut down the 360 store. Many noticed that while Generations obviously wasn't available on the 360 digitally anymore, like everything else, it had also disappeared from the Xbox One and Series X and S stores as well, something that did not happen for most games. Later in the month, Sega released a tweet confirming that they would indeed delist the original game, but how they said it was kinda hilarious in my opinion. They said, quote, "On 9/9, the original Sonic Generations will be removed as a standalone title, but we've heard your feedback and we want to help preserve the game." End quote. So, just don't delist it?
Hello, I like money.
What inspired you to delist the original Generations when you say you want to preserve the original game?
Money!
They do say the original game will still be available through bundles on Steam and Xbox, but I find it funny that they say they want to preserve the original game, while they also say they are delisting it. Still, this is at least better than how they handled Sonic Origins. The second piece of news to cover is the announcement of another collector's edition, this time being sold by Limited Run Games and being the North American version. My note about there not being a collector's edition in my previous video only grows more funny.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Maybe in September they'll announce a collector's edition for the European version too. I think it's pretty safe to say I did a pretty terrible job predicting the collector's edition's existence. I guess you could say it was a lack of foreshadowing.
Shadow!
This new collector's edition is more expensive than the already announced Japanese version, but it includes a lot more with it. This new version contains a physical art book and official soundtrack, certificate of authenticity, Chow figurines, Sonic, Shadow and Classic Sonic shoe keychains, a steelbook case, and the Sonic and Shadow Dreamcast statue. And of course, the Dreamcast case. All of these items look really cool, the statue in particular, and yes, I have pre-ordered this one too. Yes, I'll have 3 copies of this game, but that's nothing compared to my Sonic Heroes collection. Yes, even the beta disc on PS2, why do you ask?
This man is totally insane.
Thank you!
Anyway, with those two pieces of smaller news out of the way, we can get into the trailer. And just to say in this now, yes, it is clear that Sega, Sonic Team, and everyone else involved with this game aren't messing around anymore. This game looks fantastic, and every trailer just looks to be better than the last. In my last video, I said that the wings Shadow got from Black Doom were similar to Venom's. Turns out that was a better comparison than I ever could have thought of. This game is basically asking, no, begging you to make the connection of Shadow's new Doom powers and symbiote abilities. But that is definitely not a criticism at all. The new power showcase looks fantastic. So let's talk about them. The trailer this time features a new piece of music. I'm starting off by talking about the music because in both my previous videos I haven't actually commented on the music, which is a big mistake on my end since all 3 tracks have been fantastic. This trailer has a new remix of Supporting Me, more commonly known as Shadow vs. the Bio Lizard. This is the 4th version, I believe, with the others being from SA2, Generations 3DS, and Forces, and I think this new version may be my favourite of the 4, honestly. The trailer opens with Shadow in the hub world. We see Shadow looking at what could possibly be a strange altar or shrine, which contains some form of Black Doom. The shrine features some design elements linked to the Black Arms, with its central stone of course Doom's eye. We also see gears reminiscent of the time it was boss portals from the original generations, and now this is possibly a stretch, but at the base of the shrine we see some markings that, to me at least, look very much similar to the Ancients patterns in Frontiers. This may seem outlandish, but this is far from the only Frontiers reference we see in this trailer.
Shadow!
We hear Shadow say,
"Something calls to me."
before the shrine comes to life, and we hear the voice of Black Doom say,
We meet again, Shadow the Hedgehog.
before we see Doom possess Shadow, which seemingly confirms that the two are against each other in the story. But the question needs to be asked, why is Black Doom giving Shadow these powers after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog? Was it unintentional, or is Black Doom still under the impression that he can persuade Shadow to his side even after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog's true ending? From Doom's next dialogue,
Struggle all you want. You cannot deny your fate.
we can assume that he is indeed still determined to make Shadow join his side. It seems he's using these new powers to try and tempt Shadow into joining him, though if 06 is anything to go by, Shadow isn't so easily tempted. We see Space Colony Arc name dropped in the hub world, and we get a glimpse of the Level Gate Space Colony Arc. This is actually somewhat interesting, as there actually is no previous stage called Space Colony Arc in any game. SA2 has Final Chase, Shadow the Hedgehog has the Arc, Space Gadget, Cosmic Fall, and the Doom, along with everybody's favourite, Lost Impact.
Damn, not here.
But no game has a stage simply called Space Colony Arc. His name suggests that this stage will take elements from various different arc-based levels throughout the games, particularly the ones that take place outside as opposed to levels inside the arc like the Doom, but I assume that most of the inspiration will come from SA2's Final Chase. The trailer seems to suggest that Space Colony Arc is the first stage of the game, which suggests that we are playing stages in order of Shadow's memories, not necessarily in game order, because otherwise Radical Highway would come first, because Radical Highway is Shadow's first stage, with Final Chase being his fourth and final stage in SA2. As we all know, Shadow's story starts on board the Ark where he was created and where he lost Maria, so it's possible that we may see Shadow relive the loss of Maria in the opening stage, which would then lead to him meeting Black Doom in the hub world. We then transition into the Doom's Power Showcase. We start with Doom's Spears, which look to be an upgraded form of Chaos Spear. These look like a unique long-range alternative to the homing attack, a move that lets you keep the speed up whilst requiring more effort and skill than Force's style boost to wind combat, which, as we all know, isn't exactly good. Through this section we get a quickfire reel of various levels in the game, starting with one that I don't honestly recognise. From discussion online, people speculate this could either be Arsenal Pyramid or maybe Evil Foundry. Personally, I'm not convinced either way, though it would be absurdly cool to see a Secret Ring stage in this game. Maybe a Black Knight stage could be coming as well? We can hope. Anyway, after that we see the city level, which I have been saying is most likely Radical Highway, but could have been Marstopolis. Well, this trailer has confirmed that it is Radical Highway, with things like the billboards and the iconic speed blimp. Interestingly, the footage shows us the stage during the day, which is new for Radical Highway. Of course it is possible this is a new stage or a different stage, but it's most likely more sections of Radical Highway. We then see Doom Blast. Aside from looking really cool, this attack looks to have more uses than just combat, as we see the enemy launch from it used to break a wall in a level to allow for further progression. This is the kind of design I want to see in Sonic games. Hopefully levels will feature additional pathways that can only be reached by using one or combining multiple of these Doom powers, leading us to various collectibles or even just a shortcut. Original Generations was already really good for branching pathways, so I hope Shadow Generations continues this design philosophy. As Doom Blast is being demonstrated, we see what looks like the lower levels of the Resistance base from Forces. This suggests that the stage Enemy Territory for Forces is being remade, which would confirm another one of my predictions from my previous video. I'm glad we get to see a Forces stage is remade, as like I've said, the locations in Forces had potential to be great levels. Sunset Heights in particular has a lot of potential, but they need to be fully fleshed out, and I'm hoping that Shadow Generations will be the game to do that. We also see Chaos Island for a split second. Yes, Chaos Island from Sonic Frontiers. With a Forces stage and a Frontier stage in this game, I think we can safely say Shadow Generations takes place canonically after Sonic Generations. Either that or Sega are actually going with my idea of future stages being used in this game, which would be kind of uncanny, honestly. I'll speak more about Chaos Island and its potential in the story later on, as it gets a much bigger section later in the trailer, but for now we can say either this game takes place after Generations and Frontiers, or the Time Eater and Black Doom are pulling from the future as well as the past. We also see another glimpse of that mystery stage, and honestly I'm none the wiser as to what it could be. It is possible that it is a completely new stage, but I'm really not sure right now. It has the look and feel of a desert stage, but these tunnels here are really throwing me off. I'm completely at a loss as to what this stage could be. Is what I would say if I hadn't just figured it out. See, while editing this video I zoomed into the tunnels to emphasise it while talking about them, and I noticed the Forces enemy design present. This level is definitely from Sonic Forces. But which level? It is possible this is another part of enemy territory or whichever level they showcased previously, i.e. the city level based in Sunset Heights, is what I'm guessing, but it seems strange for them to include two parts of the same level in such brief succession. So which other Forces level could this be? Well, I first looked to the other two stages from episode Shadow, but the stage shown in the trailer shares nothing in common with either Eggman's facility or virtual reality. So I started to look through the main Forces stages and have come to the conclusion that this stage is enemy territory. Yeah, I know I said it would be strange, but seriously, this stage shares no resemblance to any Forces stage other than the ones that take place in the city. So I'm locking in enemy territory / Sunset Heights as my official answer to what this stage could be. Either that or it's something completely new. We then see what I believe is the hub world. If it isn't, then I'm also at a complete loss as to what this area is. It appears to resemble the hub world and seems to be in a white void like Generations hub world famously is, so I'm going to say this is the hub world. It looks really interesting. We see more of it later in the trailer and it looks to be fully packed world with lots to do in it, perhaps taking some inspiration from Frontier's open zone approach. This is also where we see the aforementioned use of an ability to unlock a new pathway, which as I said is amazing to see. The segment then ends with another shot of Kingdom Valley. I want to take a moment here to quickly talk about the new designs for the Black Arms enemies, as this is their first appearance in Shadow the Hedgehog back in 2005. They have been brought into HD phenomenally well. In Shadow the Hedgehog, they didn't always look as threatening as I believe they intended, but I think their new updated look takes what worked about their original design and elevates it to a whole new level. I am pleased to say that it also seems as though enemies will try to attack you in this game. Hooray! Anyway, after Doom Blast, we get what is probably simultaneously the most interesting and the most bizarre new power of the bunch, Doom Morph. This power seems entirely geared for traversal as opposed to the previous two which were solely combat focused. There have been various comparisons made between this power and things like Venom or Splatoon, which is really funny. But all jokes aside, this looks like a really interesting new way to explore levels. It acts as a sort of boost, but more interestingly, it acts like a grappling hook, similar to the Avatar from Forces. It looks as though you can only use this grappling hook ability in certain spots, however there is definitely a lot of potential for alternate pathways and exploration with an ability like this. This is also where we get a better view of Chaos Island from Frontiers, and honestly, I think it might look better here than in Frontiers. The main issue with Chaos Island in Frontiers is that it felt too enclosed for an open world adventure like Frontiers, especially compared to the previous Kronos and Ares Islands before it, mostly thanks to the abundance of 2D sections. The design of Chaos Island lends itself much more to a traditional stage than an open zone in my opinion, so seeing it adapted to a stage is really interesting and completely unexpected. The inclusion of Chaos Island here could actually tie back to one of my ideas from my previous ideas video, being where was Shadow during the events of Frontiers? This is something I really want to know, as I said in that video. Where was Shadow during these events? What was he doing? Why didn't he come along with Sonic, Tails and Amy on a mission as important as locating and recovering the Chaos Emeralds, especially after the relatively recent events of Sonic Forces? Perhaps Shadow was already exploring the Starfall Islands and had made his way to Chaos Island when cyberspace captured Sonic's friends. Perhaps this story has some connection to the Ancients, as well as Black Doom and the Time Eater? Unlikely, sure, but with the way this game is shaping up, I'm not sure anything is off the table. This leads us to a better look at Doom Wings, an ability revealed in the previous trailer that I'm told is pretty cool.
Rougher than the rest of them, the best of them, tougher than leather. You can call me Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my muscles.
Whoa, this guy is faster than Sonic!
We see that my prediction about the wings acting like the glider from 06 was entirely spot on. The wings are mainly used for traversal but can also be used for combat. The trailer doesn't dwell on the wings for too long, mostly showcasing them in Radical Highway. They look really fun and easy to control, but well implemented for sure. There is definitely potential for some unique shortcuts with these wings, as it looks as though you can boost into a launch and get even more airtime. Definitely a cool and welcome power up. And now we come to the last power, Doom's Surf. The power is similar to the wings in that it is useful for combat and traversal, though it is more situational than the wings, as I assume it will only work on water, as the trailer says, but definitely cool nonetheless. We get a better look at what I am assuming is the hub world, which actually has a really appealing design. Sort of reminiscent from Night Palace from Secret Rings.
You filthy rat!
I think this really goes to show how the original generation's hub world was quite lacking, being just a simple straight line with level gates. This is a definite improvement. Crucially here around the 127 mark in the trailer, if you look closely you can see Omega standing off to the side. I assume that if this is the hub world, Omega will be one of the savable characters which you save by beating a level. He also appears to be standing near a level entrance. This level gate is clearly Space Colony Arc, though I'm not sure how much sense that makes for Omega to be there, considering I don't believe he's ever been there. He wasn't there in SA2 obviously because his character didn't exist yet, but I don't recall if he was ever on board the Arc during the events of Shadow the Hedgehog. He may have been in one level that I'm forgetting about, but Omega as a savable character on Space Colony Arc seems like it makes much less sense than, say, Rouge or some other character that actually appeared in SA2.
Impossible.
Regardless, having Omega in-game is very cool to see. And then, we get to the best reveal of this trailer. Maybe the entire game so far. Infinite boss fight, that's right, Forces is back. It is the best game in the entire series. No other boss fight is relevant because Infinite is back. This will be the absolute best fight in the entire history of the Sonic series, even better than the rehash Infinite Fight 3 of original Forces. No, I'm just kidding, it's not Infinite. The Metal Overlord returns. Yes, making his return after 21 long years. It is Metal Overlord from Sonic Heroes. This is absolutely amazing. If I could have picked anything to be brought into a new generation's game, Metal Overlord and Final Fortress would have been my number 1 and number 2 choices. Though strangely it doesn't look like Shadow and Metal Overlord are actually at Final Fortress, the area seems to resemble the Forces level spaceport or network terminal a lot more than the greatest stage in the series, Final Fortress. But regardless, Metal Overlord is back and looks amazing in full HD. Hopefully we get the full 43-second cutscene of him transforming from Neo Metal Sonic remade in glorious HD as well, and I'm only kinda half joking with that to be honest.
Metal Sonic has finally transformed!
And after an incredible shot of Shadow and the Metal Overlord with Shadow saying,
I am the true ultimate life form.
the trailer ends. We get the same end screens as the previous trailers with one new addition. Physical copies of the game will come with a reversible cover, which is clearly meant to pay homage to SA2. So, to conclude, October 25th can't come soon enough. I am really hyped for this game. Everything that comes out from it just goes from strength to strength, and I really think Sega are going all out with this one. I have seen some people saying that the Shadow portion of this game could be its own standalone title, and honestly I couldn't agree more. From what we've seen of this trailer, Shadow Generations definitely looks as though it could be a standalone title because it really feels like a Shadow game with Sonic Generations as a free bonus, rather than Sonic Generations with an extra Shadow campaign. I definitely think this could have been a standalone game if Sega wanted it to be. This game looks to be fantastic and definitely has the potential to be one of the best Sonic games of all time. I do believe that this is the last full trailer we will get before release, as I think Sega will want to keep some of the game a secret for players to uncover upon release. But as with every trailer, if another one releases, I will cover it here. So, thank you all for watching another trailer breakdown of mine. If you've missed any of my previous trailer analysis videos or my ideas video that I've been referencing throughout this video, then I recommend checking out the playlist at the end with all my videos on Sonic X Shadow Generations and all the relevant trailers. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.
Shadow! Hooray! Laser! Finally transformed!
Infinite boss fight!
You filthy rat!
Thank you!